Hi everyone, welcome to Ruby's Room. It's so nice to be back. For anyone listening to this podcast and you're like, what the hell is Ruby's Room? Good question. This is a place where you can get to know your favorites and get a deeper look into your favorite content creators. It could be streamers, it could be podcasters, it could be singers, dancers, anything that you can think of, basically. We're actually filming this and recording this live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Project Ruby. And today I have my soulmate on the podcast. She's my best friend and my little sister from another mister. And her name is Ashvinelf. Welcome, Ash.
GG, Mr. Mister.
Yes,
You
Mr.
said
Mister.
I think. I don't
Yeah.
know. Anyway, hi guys.
Hi, Ash. It's so nice to
I think
have
that's so awkward.
We're very definitely not awkward. We definitely know what we do, and
Definitely planned, scripted.
yes,
Gotcha.
absolutely. It's so nice to have you. This is for people who may not know and may be new to my content. I used to have a podcast or a talk show on YouTube called Ruby's Room, and Ash was actually my first guest on there. And she was basically a host throughout most of the journey itself. But for this time around, this is for the people who are not newcomers and for people who have been watching Ruby's Room for a while. This is basically season 2. This is kind of the reboot and the rebrand of the show, where we get a deeper look into people's favorite streamers and content creators in general. And basically, we're going to go through your journey from like baby Ashvin and like what you looked up to and who you look up to growing up and the things that inspired you growing up, all the way until present day Ashvin and what you're up to, and even the content that you may or may not be working on that is going to come out sometime near 2019. So if you guys are ready for that journey, first of all, introduce yourself, Ash. Who are you? What do you do?
I'm Ashvinelf, and I am a YouTuber, or I guess an influencer, because I don't know, I do a lot of things, and mostly I've been very heavily in the Minecraft community. But yeah, I'm a gamer, and just I do weird stuff. I don't know, and just me on the internet, I guess.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. The true definition of that, and we're obviously gonna get into that in a little bit. Let's get into let's put our helmets on and go onto the time machines and go all the way back
Oh,
to
woo!
yes.
Woo!
We
I
don't
was
have a
trying to
budget, so there's no sound effects,
woo!
but yeah.
Oh my God, we got Zoom
Woo!
though.
Yes. That's how far. That's as far as our
That's
budget
the only
goes.
thing yeah, that's all you got.
So, hi, baby Ash. So,
Hi,
no,
baby Ash.
yes, you look the same. Oh my God, you haven't aged a
I
year.
know, wow.
So basically, growing up, did you have any sort of who inspired you? Basically, I feel like a lot of people growing up have people that they look up to, like when it comes to music, when it comes to fashion, when it comes to people that you watch on TV and stuff like that. So, who are those people for you growing up?
Growing up, I don't know. I felt like if it has to do with YouTube, I've been doing YouTube. I don't think people understand how long I've been doing YouTube. I think people just see like my Minecraft channel and they're like, oh my God, you've been doing YouTube for like 5 years since Minecraft came out. I've been doing YouTube way before Minecraft came out. And I actually started off as a vlogger. And I think one of the first people who like really inspired me to like make videos more often in like a consistent manner is probably Shane Dawson, which like back in the day, Shane was probably the most problematic, but like it was just like really funny. And I don't know, he just made me want to create and entertain as well. So
Yeah, for sure. And so for some of you, you're like, what do you mean? Like YouTube is like like a YouTuber is who inspired you growing up, guys. Ash is young. Ash is, Ash is like, okay, I'm talking as if you're like so much younger than me. You're like 2 years younger than me, but like
To be fair, I do have other ones, but like
Yes.
if it comes to YouTube, it's obviously
Mm-hmm.
Shane Dawson.
Yeah, but like before YouTube, right? Like when you didn't even like have that, because as much as we're young, we're also not as young as some people watching us right now, where they like grow up and they're literally watching YouTube the way that we watch TV and stuff like that. So, did you have anyone growing up that you kind of were like, oh my god, I want to do what they're doing, and I want to be who, like, kind of the way that they are. So like for me, while you think about it, I can sort of like give you an example of like that for me. I remember I actually don't remember this. My mom actually told me this. When I was super, super young, like I'm talking like 3 years old, I used to like sing all the time. I was to like, for some reason, like if someone was playing music later that day, I would be singing that song for them, and everyone thought it was so cute that like this little baby was like just walking around or barely walking around and being and like singing all like these things and barely knowing the words, like which is still the case today. I barely know the words
Oh,
to songs, but I still sing them anyway. Um, but
all the K-pop.
yes, all the K-pop basically, right? It never ended. My life. My neighbors probably think I'm crazy. They're like, "What are you like? Does he not
Oh
know
my
any
God,
words?
what language?
Does
Is he
he?"
okay? Having a seizure?
Right? Basically. So, yeah, and then growing up, I had moments of like watching. I remember a music video that I actually saved on my VHS. I recorded on a VHS tape. It was Lady Marmalade and with like Christina Aguilera, Maya, Pink, all of that.
What?
And I remember being obsessed with it and wanting to like learn the dances as well and all that stuff. But obviously at the time, it was kind of like I'm from a very small town and stuff, so I was like, this is like I definitely shouldn't do that. But I knew like deep down it was like, oh my god, like I love that. Like I stand. It's like everything that I ever want in life. And then like growing up and like I had examples of like the very few examples of LGBT people on TV. One of them was Ellen, for example, and I was like, oh my god, she's like so funny and she makes people's day better, and she preaches for like people to be positive and to be nice to each other and stuff like that. So it was kind of like a good reference, and but I feel like I remember very specifically when I watched Glee. This was like years later. This was like 2009. That was one of the bigger ones for me where I was like, I kind of want to do what they're doing because it at that point it was okay for me. Like I saw it as it was okay to be gay and to like perform and to be extra and to do all the things that you want to do in life because they did have LGBT characters in it and all that stuff. So it was really cool to see that and to kind of have that. But if we're talking about inspirations as a whole, I definitely Britney and like pop stars, and for some reason I don't know what it is, but like a strong and like iconic female figure has always been they've always been inspirational to me. So what is kind of that but for you?
I don't know. I felt like when I was young, I was always like flip-floppy on things that I loved. And I just feel like overall I was just like a very sporadic creative person where like for example, like I watched this movie about drummers. I forgot what it was called, but like it was like a drummer movie. And after watching that, I was like, "Oh my God, I want to like do the drums." So then I picked up the drums and I started doing that. And like it's just like random things inspired me. I don't really think I had really that many like specific people that inspired me. Like I was like obsessed with Pokemon and I wanted to be a Pokemon trainer. And
Yes.
for example, like Power Ranger, I would literally sit at my bed before I go to sleep and pray every night that I would turn into at least the pink or the yellow Power Ranger. Now, I
Oh.
would probably say the green Power Ranger, but
Yes.
then I didn't know how much I loved green. I was delusional. Anyways, um, but yeah, I didn't really have like just one thing that inspired me. It was just like always like a load of different things.
Hmm.
And I would like for example, like Tyra Banks and stuff like that. And just like I
Yes.
used to like get really into like a lot of model stuff and like
Hmm.
I would always like look up to different models and I don't know, just like especially of course like women that are like striving and just beautiful. And I think I even have like, well, I think I don't know if it's probably not just me, but I feel like as a trans girl, when you see like just beautiful women like succeeding, it kind of makes you happy. And not even that, but like a lot of the times, like I don't even know what I'm talking about, but like I mean like for example, Kim Petras, who's like a trans woman and she is also like a musical artist, like her songs are even sad, but like I'll cry to them because like she's just succeeding and
Mm-hmm.
she's trans and she's a woman. So like all those things together, like literally just listening to a song about like not anything sad, like she could be like, I'm happy living my life, making lots of money. And I'm like, yeah, too, making no money actually. So yeah, it's really great.
Yeah, I mean that is beautiful, and obviously a lot of times we don't really understand. Especially growing up, I also looked up to stuff like that. Like I remember watching like America's Next Top Model, and I wanted to be in all these reality shows. I was like, oh my god, this is so iconic. And now growing up, you have all the like
Yeah,
you
you're kind of
you have all the
maybe I
show.
would not want to do that.
Right? You have all the people on YouTube being like exposing these reality shows. We were treated like shit on
The
set.
truth.
And I was like, oh, yikes. But, you know, growing up, you kind of believe in that like fantasy and that illusion and stuff like that. And there's still good messages to take from that, you know. I remember actually America's Next Top Model being one of the first places where I actually saw like a lot of diversity when it came to like the cast. Like you had girls from like all sorts of like backgrounds, and even there was a season I remember it was like so like iconic because they had their first trans girl actually being in the cast, and she talked about her experience, and she talked about you know, coming out and her transition and how, you know, she was becoming more and more confident in her body, which is a big thing when it comes to trans people because um, everyone sort of has like things about their body. They're like, oh my god, my left toe is weird, but you know,
I thought
but
you were saying my left titty. It's kind of smaller than the other.
yes, everyone does have like little things here and there that they don't like, but for trans people it's actually like a big deal, and there's actually way more things other than like the small nitpicky things that everyone has about their own bodies. So it was really cool to see like a trans girl strive, and for me I didn't even understand like why I've always been so like not attracted, obviously, because I'm a homosexual, but I like attracted in a different way, kind of inspired by all these iconic female figures, because I just had all this femininity inside of me that I just didn't really portray or express in any way. So for me to see them, it was a really good way to like not live like through them, but to kind of get an inspiration from them. And now like kind of coming to terms at like with who I am, it's kind of a thing of like I am both. It's just like I repressed one side so much that it's kind of like it was hard for me to see that there was a place for both, and also because non-binary representation is so lacking. Unless you watch YouTube, you don't really get a lot of non-binary representation. But yeah, but basically, obviously, you talked about being inspired by Shane Dawson, and that's when we can start moving on to the content creation side of things, which I feel like a lot of people would be interested in because they see you and you have a beautiful setup and you have everything together. You figured out the audio stuff, you figured out the video stuff, you have good quality, you have good editing and all that stuff. But obviously that's not how things started, right? So how was that first experience for you when you did start vlogging, and when did you make that change to become a gamer instead of a vlogger?
Um, well, I feel like I just kind of started with what I have, and I think that's how a lot of people used to start. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
nowadays people are starting like with DSLRs as their freaking webcams and freaking 4K everything, and I'm just
Right.
like, oh my god, I don't even have that, and and I'm still here like 5 years later.
Right.
Um, but like, I don't know, I just kind of started with what I have, whether I was using my webcam or like a camera that my family bought me forever ago that's not really that good and was kind of broken, but I still kind of used it and was fine. Um, and I was I was a vlogger for a long time, so I did that, and which was kind of, it was a interesting experience because I don't know how I did it. Because now that I look back, I'm just like, what did I have to talk about? Like, who was I? But like, somehow I did it, and I did somehow gain a semi following from it. And I got in contact with like a lot of LGBT. And I feel like the community was so much different when it comes to the LGBT
Hmm.
community on YouTube back then. I just remember all of the collab channels. Like, I forgot what it was called.
There was
It
like
was
five
like
awesome
Gays of the
gays.
Week and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I don't know. It was just like really so super tight knit, and I got a chance to meet a lot of those people, and I think that was like a really cool point. But I got to like a point where I was just like, I'm not good at vlogging. And it
Oh.
was like kind of sad, but like at the same time, not really, because I ended up finding Minecraft. And that changed me forever. Not really. Well, kinda. It did change me forever. And I kind of just like switched over to gaming, and that's like kind of where I strived more.
Mm.
So I don't know. It's weird.
How was that period between going from vlogging content to gaming content? Was did you make that transition right away, or was it something that like you stopped vlogging because you felt like you weren't really good at it, and then you kind of had a moment of self-discovery between the two, or was it like natural?
I don't know. It felt kind of natural. It just kind of like I slowly moved. And I remember asking like Christina, who, if you guys don't know, is my best friend, and we're living
Yes.
together. And I remember asking her, like, should I do this and move to gaming and stop vlogging because I'm really bad at it? And she was like, yes, you are bad at it. You should stop vlogging.
Oh.
No, she was like just really supportive about it. And then I just started doing gaming, and it just like slowly transitioned. I actually had a whole other channel that's not the channel that I have right now. That was like Ashvinelf, like it was its own channel, and then I had my vlogging channel.
Oh.
And I posted on there for like a while, but then I was like, wait, I'm not even posting on my vlogging channel anymore. Why don't I just post there? Because I already have a following there as well. So I
Mm.
just ended up moving over to the channel that I already had a following on, and that's where I am today. Same channel, same lifestyle.
Not really, but you know.
Not really. Whole
Yeah.
different lifestyle.
Right. No, but it's definitely important, not just in content creation but in life, to kind of sometimes we pursue things and sometimes we're like, you know what, maybe this is not for me, and it's good sometimes. It's definitely, you had that moment where you said like, I wasn't good at it, so why keep doing it when there's other things that I could explore and I could be better at? And, maybe you could have tried Minecraft and maybe you could have been like, you know what, I'm going to stick to vlogging. Or it was the other way around and it actually, changed everything for you at that point because you developed a community in such a different way, and you've met so many people, including myself, through it, which is really cool. That game, we're talking like 2014 Minecraft stuff, like 2015,
Mhm.
at when it was at its peak. Like everyone on YouTube all of a sudden was a Minecraft gamer at some point because of such inspirations as like Stacy and Ellie Shadow Lady, which I think was your inspiration, right? Ellie Shadow Lady
Yeah.
for the YouTube stuff. And I remember for me, I was watching like I used to watch like Joey and stuff like that. All these vloggers that also had Minecraft channels, like Megan had that as well. And I remember that was kind of how I kind of got back into gaming. Not that I really left gaming as a hobby, but I was definitely falling out of it a little bit because of like high school stuff. And then my brother wasn't as invested in it, so he wasn't buying games, and I didn't have a job because I was still studying. So it was kind of like, I was kind of slowly falling out of it, and then kind of finding Minecraft, and it was one of the few games that I could actually run on my dusty ass laptop, and I was like, this is something that I could do. And like Ash said, it was a time where people just worked with what they had. Like, we had awful quality at times, our audio was a mess at times, and things didn't always work like they were supposed to, but we still did it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of a message that I still have today on my streams when, I play Just Dance, when I do like karaoke stuff, where you don't necessarily have to be the best at it. You just have to do it, because you will get better at it the more that you do. And if you don't do it, it's like you're stopping yourself from doing stuff that you really want, and you're stopping yourself from growth, which nobody wants that. You shouldn't want that for yourself. So, definitely a good message. But actually, Minecraft is not the only thing that you've done on YouTube. You've actually done so many different content types and so many different channels that people, I feel like, they aren't even aware of, because in some channels you don't even post that much on anymore, because
Mm-hmm.
for like multiple different reasons, right? But you've done like, I remember back in the day you had like still like music stuff in your channel in like Ashvinelf, and you did have like an ASMR channel. You have a Roblox channel. You have a mukbang channel, a fashion channel. Like, you used to have like all sorts of like
Yeah.
different sides of who you are, I guess. So like, what made you have all those different channels, and what was your relationship like with them when like you stopped doing certain of them and you started doing some of them, and how do you kind of manage all of them separately?
Try to say each an individual one and how I came to the conclusion. I mean, I don't feel like I have that many channels, but I did have a good amount, to be honest. But I don't know. Well, when it comes to, if we're gonna talk, let's talk recent channels. Like
Yes.
right now, currently we have Ashvinelf, which is my main channel where I do mostly everything and it's mostly me. And then I created a mukbang channel because I just love mukbangs and I wish I could just be the best mukbanger in the whole world. I'm getting there. I think it's just like having confidence in myself and my
Yeah.
conversation is always like beforehand. I don't know, because I think I'm just not used to it. I'm so used to like the whole gameplay format and just
Mm-hmm.
like being able to like bounce off what I'm doing or who I'm with, sort of situation. And also, I'm a very big collaborator, which I guess I won't go too much into that, but like I'm really big on like bouncing off of other people. And I really like sharing other people's stories, learning, and just like, I don't know, just being with other people. But let's continue on to what is the next channel? Roblox. Roblox is
Smooth
just like,
transition there.
you know, but like I made a Roblox channel because I don't know, I kind of just wanted to snap and do something new and crazy out of nowhere. But I don't know if I'll ever like officially like make the time for it. We'll see. We don't know. I have a lot of things going on.
You
So
really
I'm
do.
just gonna finish those things first and then maybe we'll think about adding on another channel, you know. Um,
Right?
and then if we're talking about like older channels where I've had an ASMR channel because I was just super into ASMR. I'm obsessed with it. I'm not as much obsessed with it now. I think it's because I have immunity because I've just watched it so much. I
Right?
watch it now more when I'm like working because it helps me
Hmm.
concentrate. It doesn't really help me sleep anymore. Um, and then what else? A fashion channel, which I had a long time ago, and it just didn't work out. But like, I would love to have like a fashion related channel at some point because I love fashion. But we'll see about that as well. I'm just gonna work on my one channel for right
Right?
now and focus on that because it's been a rough year. So
Yes. No, but you know, it's good to explore and to like do the things that you love as well. And it's actually a really cool thing that you've done, multiple cool things that you've done, right? Where you kind of like you don't really have a strategic thing to it or anything. You just like I'm into this. I want to do it and I want to try it, and you do it for a while and then you're like, okay, maybe that's not for me, or maybe you just want to focus on something else. But those, they're all very valuable, I feel, because it's, you know, at least you're trying, right? At least you're going for it, and not everyone does that. I feel like that's the difference between a lot of people is like some people always like have these dreams and they always are like, I want to do this and I want to try this out sometime, but I don't know about it. But you actually go for it and you actually do it. So you know, I feel like there's nothing to be ashamed of. Sometimes I do joke around with you. I'm like, oh my god, I have like a million channels, but I actually do commend you for actually doing it and going for it regardless. You know. But
Yeah.
um, let's talk about like recent content stuff because um, you had a moment semi recently, right? We're kind of over it, but I kind of just wanted to hear what
We're
your
there. We're like tipping over it.
what, what your like thoughts are on that matter still, because obviously I'm talking about a series that gained a little bit of attention that Ash did about in her main channel about the Minecraft community, which is the state of the Minecraft community. I feel like there were a lot of opinions on it, as you know. I feel like whenever you do something meaningful, there's always going to be a lot of opinions on it. It's kind of a bad sign if nobody has an opinion on what you're doing, right? Either good or bad. If you don't get a lot of it, it means that you're probably not doing something that resonates with people. Um, so, do you want to talk a little bit about what that series was, and then kind of give people
Sure.
some like context for people who may not know about what I'm talking about?
Well, the state of the Minecraft community was a little um, series, I guess, I made about how I felt my community was feeling about whatever it was in Minecraft, whether it was SMPs, whether it was relationships, or whatever it was. And basically, I just kind of went over kind of not the downfall, but kind of the downfall of like, or some of the negatives of, I felt like last year. Yes, last year
Yes.
was kind of for YouTube. Like, I had a lot of creators that I know and love, close friends, acquaintances that were just having a really tough time when it came to creating content or um, making friends or getting back to talking to each other again because I felt like a lot of people with the changes going on in YouTube kind of felt discouraged.
Mm.
And if we're going to be honest, I hate when people say, "Oh my God, it's not all about the numbers. Like you're, it's not all about growing." Yeah, it's not all about that, but like it also is still going to affect your mood no matter
Yeah.
what.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to see themselves grow, even if it's in the smallest bit. Just
Yeah.
gaining a subscriber a day can make someone happy. I know it makes me happy.
Right.
I felt like a lot of people that didn't get it kind of took it as me generalizing the whole community, which I get because I did kind of make it really dramatic. But at the same time, on that note, I my first time doing something like that, and there's a lot of things I wish I could have like twerked and made a little bit better and really sum it up in a better way. But I think I did the best I could do um, with kind of, I don't know, where I was at and
Yeah.
the experience I had with doing something so different. Um, so yeah, and I kind of just like basically it was just like a take on the community around me and how everyone around me was feeling more than how the whole community is feeling sort of
Mm-hmm.
situation. And um, it was nice because I got to really have some great conversation with people and relate to people on a whole different level that I wasn't able to relate to before. Because I think a lot of times, especially in the YouTube community, we tend to think that we're kind of alone in our feelings
Mm-hmm.
and kind of think, oh, people don't like me, or people don't want to collab with me, or people don't want to talk to me, or my videos suck, or whatever it is. Um, and I think just like learning to push past those boundaries and not letting people get stuck in their heads and realizing that we're all kind of feeling the same way
Mm-hmm.
and that we can all kind of come together and be like, hey, I'm feeling really bad. Let's feel bad together instead of being stuck and making videos alone. I mean, some people enjoy making videos alone, but I know I'm very community oriented, and that kind of series as a whole is kind of for people like me who love community, who love bouncing off each other, who love working on things together and just having a fun time. I feel like that's what made Minecraft so amazing, is that you can
Mm-hmm.
have this amazing community. You can make an SMP, you can build stuff together. And yeah, it was just like a series being like, let's get back to that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
absolutely. No, I totally get it, and you should be super proud of it because obviously you'll never be able to fully represent an entire community, right? Will never, like, even with me, like being in my channel, sometimes people are like, "What's the deal with gay people not enjoying this word?" Or "What's the deal with?" And like, obviously you can't speak for a whole community, but I'm just gonna say this. I feel like sometimes people have opinions and they say stuff like, "Oh, you're just generalizing, or you're doing this and you're doing that." But what I feel like, maybe, I don't know, obviously the people who criticized the series, and it's not about people who criticized it. It's I think it's about giving people context, because you've been around the Minecraft community for years now, and it's not just a thing of like you jumped on a bandwagon and you were like, you did it for like a couple months and now you're complaining that it's not as relevant anymore. Because the reality is, like, you do know a lot of people in the community. You've been around the community for a long, long time. And obviously, you know a lot of people, and even people that weren't on the series. I'm assuming you've talked to them behind the scenes, and you've talked to a bunch of people
Oh yeah.
throughout the years, and you've seen what people talk about, and you've seen, even on social media. I still follow people that I was also a part of the Minecraft community at some point. That's how I met Ashvin. That's how I met a lot of people that I love and appreciate to this day, because it was a really good way of, like, you get in this server and you actually get to interact with them, not in a physical way, but it's the closest that you can get, really, in by being on the other side of the world. You know what I mean? Like, your characters can interact. um so it was a cool series, because this is exactly what happens when people focus an entire brand and an entire business. Because let's be real, YouTube is a business and content creation is a business. It is what happens when you focus an entire business on one thing, and that thing is
Mhm.
not always going to be relevant, and that thing is not always going to be, you know, searched on YouTube, right? Let's be real. We're in 2019 now. Minecraft is not the top searched game on YouTube anymore, like it once was. That's just the reality of the situation. Obviously, people who still love making Minecraft videos, they're still gonna do it, but Fortnite is the new Minecraft. You know what I mean? It's like Minecraft used to be
Yeah.
the top queen, and it's not to say that it's not relevant anymore, because obviously it is, and there's still an audience there. People still thrive on it. Um, but it's not going to be easy, and obviously, some people got into the community at a time where it was easier to grow on it, and they left the second it stopped being easy. And then there's people that stuck around since the beginning, and they're still here, like Ash, like multiple other people. Obviously, I'm not really following the Minecraft community anymore, but people that I used to watch back in the day, they still make videos in Minecraft. They still do their thing, like using the example, like Stacy is still doing it. And I remember it was such a cool moment when Ash was in the same server as Megan, as well. It was one of those moments where it's like she was still doing it. I don't know if she still does it, but it's still like there's still people banking on that, not necessarily in like, oh, I'm getting rich by doing it, but what I mean is like there's still people doing it and there's still people fighting for it. But it hasn't gotten easier, and I think it was your series was one of the realest looks at a community because it did give the perspective of like, yeah, I mean, I love this, but it's not easy anymore. You know, it's super hard, and you have to be incredibly creative because at this point, a lot of things have been done, and you really have to work really, really hard to get outside the box. So you should definitely be proud of the series, and people that I guess watched it, they should really understand that there is a lot of history involved in that series. It wasn't just someone who just started doing Minecraft a couple months ago and they were like,
Yeah.
oh, this is so hard. Oh, no, this is someone who's been in the community and they've seen a lot of people come and go for various reasons, and they've seen a lot of drama and they've seen a lot of situations go down. But you did have something to say earlier when I was talking about Minecraft not being the main queen anymore.
Oh yeah, I just liked what you said. It's because like I think nowadays, I think like a really good like advice to give people because a lot of times people just go into it kind of like I'm just gonna play this game and people are gonna watch me play this game. But like people want to watch actual human beings. They want to watch your
Mm-hmm.
personality. So I don't know. I just thought like and a lot of uh, channels that I'm associated with, or just people in general. I've seen a lot of my friends like they're moving into like this new phase of channel, which is like what I feel like a lot of people are starting to call personality channel,
Mm.
which I think is so cool. And I kind of love this new kind of thing where people are like, you know what, it's not really about the game. It's about
Mm-hmm.
what I bring to it, It's about me and what I can do with this game or what I could do with this video, And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's like a really good just like way of putting how people should approach YouTube. Because I feel like in the beginning that was just like a normal thing. Like we were just our personalities. We didn't
Yeah.
have the craziest stuff. We were just silly playing games that we like, sometimes with our friends, and that was that. So I kind of like that we're moving to that more again,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but maybe with our more fancier cameras.
Absolutely. For sure. No, that is really good, just general advice. And I feel like the people who, a lot of people say, like, I miss insert year here, right? Like, people are like, I miss 2014, I miss, blah. Um, but the thing is, like, people that were relevant then are still relevant now because they kept it about themselves. Like if you think about it, like people like even PewDiePie and like Markiplier and stuff like that, they've always been like personality channels. We're just giving them a name now, but the reality is everyone just looked at them, oh, they're just gamers. But the reality is like people watch them because of their personality and what they bring to this game. Like let's say a new game just came out and it's super popular. There's people who will watch the footage with no personality, like no one playing it. They just want to see the game. But then people are like, okay, so what is PewDiePie going to do with this game? Where are the crazy shenanigans that he's going to come up with? And same goes with like Minecraft. I feel like for a while was like there was a popular series and it was like, what is this person gonna bring to it? And turns out a lot of people brought kind of the same to it, and very few people brought their own twist to things. And I feel like the people who actually did go the extra mile to do that are the people who are still kind of doing it because they were in it for the creative. They are in it for the experience of making something and putting something together. Which is not to shame anyone in specific, but I feel like it does happen on Twitch, for example. Like someone just comes in and they're like, oh, Fortnite is super popular. Let me do exactly what Ninja is doing. And it's like, no, people watch Ninja for Ninja. Like they're not gonna watch you. Like why would they watch a second-rate Ninja when they can watch the actual Ninja? It's kind of that. It's still you can have your own interests and you can have the things that you love, but definitely think outside the box and definitely think of what you can bring to something. And I feel like the term variety channel is dying. It's like personality channel and community channel is where it's kind of at right now, because at this point it's like 2019, like playing a popular game isn't cutting it anymore. You know what I mean? Like if anything,
It's
everything is
not.
so saturated that by playing a popular game, you'll get buried in all the directories because in all the searches because people you're not going to be the first few people that pop up in that search anymore. So but if you do something very unique in it, if people are looking for something unique, they will find you super easily. You know what I mean? So definitely it's something for content creators to look out for, and it's always something that Ash has always done. Like Ash has always been someone that I left the Minecraft community because I wasn't creative enough. I just played the game as it is and whatever. But Ash was always been someone that like she had like a musical break in the middle of one of her videos for no reason. She had like the funniest editing. She had like all these things that like I remember one of the first videos that I watched from her was a video that everyone used to do back in the day, which was inspired by the Hunger Games. There was like this mini game in Minecraft where everyone just like spawned in the center. There were chests in there, and everyone just like went their own way. And I remember Ash was like in the waiting room, and she was like making up a song while she was in the waiting room, and she had like all this like funny editing, and I was like, this bitch is hilarious, and she's like she knows what she's doing. She's like an entertainer. She's not just like what everyone else is doing. So I'm really excited for what you're gonna bring to this year. Is there anything that you can tease? Like now, obviously we're into a new year, and obviously a lot has changed. You've moved, which was a really big decision, and it obviously with you having two jobs as well, it definitely isn't easy dealing with content. And for a while, you kind of had a tough time, kind of like with ideas and with making stuff. So like, do you mind kind of talking us through that moment of like you had that excitement of like moving and all these things coming together, but at the same time creatively you weren't really at your best, and kind of how you kind of got over it now to 2019 where you are making content and you have amazing ideas and you are gonna put them out sometime soon. So yeah, how was that?
Well, I feel like even before kind of like my big move, I was already kind of struggling creatively. And you could honestly like go back into my channel and just because I'm very open about when I'm having a creative block or when I'm feeling down about my content and I'll see it. So I probably have a few videos of me talking about that in that situation. Which I like creating those because I feel like people can usually relate to it in a way. And it also just like I don't know, I just like letting my viewers know like when like what's going on because I hate to be that person that's just like bye. I don't know, but that's just like me as a channel and as a person. I just like being upfront about those things. But I just felt like kind of with my life and also not being able to be like my 100% self in my outside life had affected me online as well because it kind of felt like I'm this lie online, because like
Hmm.
you guys think I'm this confident trans girl who is living her life with green hair and going out to the club, and I would be literally just sitting at home, never going out because I didn't feel comfortable dressing the way I want to dress or looking the way I want to look. And I think after the move, it was just like everything came at once because I was able to do all of that stuff.
Hmm.
And I think it kind of just overwhelmed me. And I think that also affected my creativity a little bit because I was just like, oh, too many emotions, too many things. I'm literally my boss just let me go into the girls' bathroom. What the heck? Like just
Oh.
like little things like that.
Yeah.
Just like was like a lot to take in. So I think I just having some time to kind of feel all of that and get back to like, okay, I'm me. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Um, just like a nice break, which I feel like I've been talking to like a lot of people and like everyone's kind of been on this break trip. Like, let's go on a break, let's not post content for a little while. And I'm like, yes, let's not do that. Let's just explore life, explore ourselves, and then come back and be better than ever.
Hmm,
So
yeah.
yeah. And I don't know how much I could say about my what my content is going to be. But what I can say is that it's definitely going to be a big change. And I want my content to be a lot more meaningful than, I mean, it's always been meaningful, but I felt like I really want my content to kind of have something to take out of it and have a story and have just deeper meanings. So I wish I could see it, but like it would give everything away. But just know that there's going to be a lot of changes, and I hope you guys enjoy them because it should be fun.
Yes. And definitely, it's not like I know a lot, but I do know of some things which I'm not gonna say, obviously. But you touched on something really important, which is getting that balance between living your life and then making content, because creative people need real life experiences to create art. That's just how art is created. Like someone is going to write a song about a breakup because they lived their life and they got a relationship and they got broken up with. That's just kind of how things work. And that's why, singers don't come out with a new song every week. You know what I mean? With in YouTube, it's like you're like, "Oh my god, I need a new video every week because then I'm going to be relevant." In reality, it's like, how are you going to have ideas? How are you going to have creative juices if there's really nothing happening in your life? Like, what are you going to be inspired from? Because you don't have any time to watch any movies. You don't have any time to watch any series. You don't have, you don't have interactions with other humans. So, like, where are you getting ideas from? You're not. And that's why everyone gets burned out and everyone needs to take a little step back at times, because it's kind of hard to do stuff if you don't have anything going on except for like working on videos. It's like, what are you going to talk about in your video? What is going to be your commentary? Like, oh, hey guys, I edited a video today. You know what I mean?
True. And that's kind of like where this new format of my channel is going. And I can talk about that a little.
Yes.
Um, how it's not going to be like how I used to be, and it's not going to be like a grind sort of. Um, I feel I feel like it's going to be more open to what inspires me at the moment and creating content involved around that. And so yeah, just like you talking about how like people are always they're like on all the time and creating video after video. And I kind of wanted to make my channel in a way so that I don't have to do that. And it's kind of just like more just creating stuff when I want to create stuff and putting it out for you guys when I want to put it out. And when I'm ready for you guys to actually see the finished product, sort of thing.
And that is really exciting because a lot of times, and sometimes it takes a while for you to be able to tell, but the audience ends up being able to tell if something is even slightly off. And it's not that they know you and it's not that they know what you're going through, but people sometimes are like, "Oh, it's like the third video that is kind of similar to what she's already given us," or this is the third thing that it feels like she's kind of not really that present. She's kind of relying on other people to kind of help. And this is not at you, this is not at anyone in specific, but it's kind of how things work. And you really need like a step back. And the grind culture that we live in is really interesting because it people sometimes misunderstand it for like always, like you always need to be working, you always need to be putting something out. But in reality, like sometimes, yes, working hard is good, but not all the work that you do needs to be out immediately, and not all the work that you like, not all the things that you're working on need to be a thing right off the bat. And what I mean by that is like, it's like when streamers on Twitch stream every single day. It's like you don't have to have all of your ideas all the time be like on a stream immediately that day. Like if you cut down the stream days, you actually get to have days where you just think of new ideas. You just watch something that inspires you. And it's like with YouTube, I feel like it could head in a similar direction, obviously with like them having YouTube originals where you get a season of a show, and then for a while it doesn't come back, and then you get a new season. And I feel like it could be a good way of approaching content, because obviously you're still going to be working on stuff, but you're going to have like a bunch of content, and then you're going to release it, and then you're going to work on a new bunch of content and then release it later, kind of thing. um, Without spoiling anything, um, can you tell us a little bit about what kind of content we're getting? Like, are you getting completely rid of Minecraft stuff? Are you still gonna have Minecraft? What does your content look like for people who wanna watch you?
I am still gonna have Minecraft for all my Minecraft booties out there who are like, don't leave Minecraft. I'm not leaving Minecraft. Although if I wanted to, I would, but I don't. I still enjoy it. But I am gonna be adding on loads of different games as well as just more collaboration will be involved as well. So um, it'll be a different change, a new change, a good change. So yeah.
Yes, excitement all around. Obviously, as um, as a fellow content creator, it's kind of what you were saying earlier about like when you see someone thrive, you get really excited for them, but also get inspired a little bit, and you're like, oh my god, yes, I'm getting life from that, and I want to be inspired by that. So like, who inspires you, and what inspires you these days, right? Because you were talking about how your new content
See?
is all about the new stuff that
Yeah.
you're gonna have. So what is it that inspires you?
I can say this is probably what I shouldn't say, but lately I've been inspired by women, and that's all
Yes.
I'll say.
Oh,
So that's that.
yes. People are like, you didn't even say that much, but like when you know, you're like, yeah, that's
When you know,
yeah.
guys.
Definitely like what women inspire you? Who inspires
What
you?
women? So
Yes.
many women. I mean, my best friend is a woman.
He's a women.
Um, she is a woman. And I don't know, just so many types from musical artists to my own friends to creators that I don't know, creators I do know. Just women in general have been really inspiring me lately.
Yes. That's really exciting. How did you sort of how when did you come to that conclusion that you were like, okay, we need to take a break and we need to change something? Because that's what you were saying, like you got a little overwhelmed at some point with everything going on. So like, when was that moment? Because for a while you were still posting quite regularly, like at least like every week or every other week. So what was that point of you being like, okay, this is we need to actually change something here?
I think when I just kind of felt like I kind of got to a point where I was like, it's not going to come out because I was just like forcing my creativity to come out just like, hey, hello, anyone there?
Right.
Come out right now, bitch. Anyways, um, so I think just like at that point, I was like, it's not coming out. So I just need to stop because it's just not gonna do anything, and it's just all everything I create is just gonna be bad in my eyes. So I think just taking that break and being like, okay, she's gone, she's on vacation. I'm also gonna go on vacation while my creativity's on vacation. Um, and yeah, that's it.
Yes, awesome. So, as the new year is upon us, what are some of the near future goals for Ashvinelf? Doesn't have to be like New Year's
Oh,
resolutions necessarily, but what are you looking forward to now in the future? Now that your content is gonna come out, and what do you want to learn? What do you want to do this year and stuff like that?
I don't know. I just hope to really like kind of be outside of the box like I used to, I guess. Or just like I just want I don't know, I just want it to be a year of my creativity shining because I miss her. She's been on hiatus and she needs to show the world her creation.
Yes. No, that's exciting. Like especially now you're at a moment where you did move and you have a IRL situation going steadily, like by having, work, by having income, by having stability, I suppose. So now I guess this could be the year of you focusing on the creative stuff. Now that everything else is sort of sorted, now you get to kind of just be like, you know what, this is where I can thrive now. I can do all the amazing things that I want to do, and we're rooting for you here. So that's really exciting. I'm really looking forward to your new content. Is there a release window that you have for the content?
Um, I will say possibly, but I will not confirm or deny because I have so much to do that, like, when you like plan stuff and you're like, oh yeah, it's like forever away, like it'll be fine, like
Right?
I'll get it done. And now like it's like January
Right?
and like everyone's already making content and I'm just over here like scruffling to get things together. But I'm hoping February,
Yeah.
sometime in February. So yeah.
Looking forward to it. Really, really
Mhm.
exciting. Yeah, that there's definitely that struggle of of you being like, yeah, I have all these things working out for you. I had the same for Ruby's Room. I was like, okay, Ruby's Room is coming back in January, y'all. It's gonna be great. And then I was like, oh, it's like last week. I was like, oh, we're almost in January. Like, I need to actually start like making some going into those DMs for people because we actually need to get this started and actually going on a consistent basis. So definitely understand the struggle, and I'm definitely also excited to see what you're gonna bring to all of us, and excited for all the possibilities and such. So before we get into viewer Q&A questions for people watching us right now on Twitch, um, feel free to leave your questions in the questions chat and we will get to them. But I do have a question before we get into that. So when it comes to you making content, what would you say is a good piece of advice? Like the main one, the thing that sticks out to you the most when someone is like, oh, I want to make videos, or like someone who has been making videos, but they're like struggling how you kind of were struggling. What is the one main piece of advice that you would give to a fellow content creator?
I guess just find authenticity, I
Hmm.
guess. Um, I think a lot of the times we tend to look at other people's content or just around us in life and kind of think that we have to do that or we have to find a way to do that but cooler. But we should be thinking kind of how can we do that in our own way? Or um, what is something that I can do that's going to make me happy? And hopefully by it making me happy, it's going to make everyone who's watching me happy. So it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously it's not easy, right? Self-discovery is never easy. It takes
Mhm.
work. Um so
And I
how
think that's like a good thing to say as well. It's just like knowing that it's gonna like you're gonna change all the time and like
yes.
not being not feeling like you have to like always be the same for
Mm.
anyone.
So like put yourself in the box, right? Sort of thing where you're
Yeah.
like it's good to have like your identity but also be aware that that is changing constantly, and your content will change along that. So one thing that I would say is that you're kind of reminding me of is that a lot of people, and I see it on social media and it makes me so sad, but I can't just like reply to everyone and preach things to people because they'll be like, I didn't ask you for anything. I didn't ask you for advice. What are you doing? But it makes me so sad when I see people on social media. And I obviously, with the new year being a thing, a lot of people kind of reminisce and look back. And I've seen so many people be like, oh, I miss this specific year and I miss how things were back then, and I just kind of want to recreate what things were. And a lot of times people just like hold on to like a specific year or a specific time frame of their career or their life or whatever, and they kind of want to recreate that, and they hold on to that so much that they kind of lose sight of like who they are today and like what they can do today and how they can change, because obviously we all change, we all go through life, we all go through things that change us as people. So it's really, really important to obviously look back at things that you enjoy doing, but at the same time be aware that today you can do something just as great, if not greater, than the things that you've done before, and to not hold back or not hold on to those days and be like, those were the golden days, and from now on I could never live up to that, because that's not true. Like, that is not true at all. You can always grow and learn and slay the game. We do have a question from an iconic queen such as Christina C. It's actually a two-part question, so we'll go through the first half first, and then we can answer the second question. So, who has been the most inspirational person you've met through YouTube and content creation? Ooh, this is a juicy one. You as in me or Christina?
Yeah, Ruby. I
Me?
mean, I didn't meet Christina through content creation.
Oh, that is true. That
I
is
met her
true.
before that, so it would be you.
Why?
You're my best friend, and you've helped me grow so much. And just having your support has, I feel like, affected my channel positively in every single way.
Oh, thank you. I can all honestly say the same. This was not a ploy to get you to say me, but honestly, I definitely feel the same to you.
Wow, you're so
Self-centered and just like, yeah, everything revolves around me. It's fine. No, but no, I definitely feel the same towards you, because I feel like we have this relationship where we just go to each other whenever we have ideas, and I think it's a mutual thing that we're genuinely just like encouraging of one another. And it's always been a thing of like, it's like you say you have an idea, and I'm telling you ways to do it, and I'm like, do it. This is how you could do it. This is an example of someone doing that. Like, how can you put your own twist on it? And vice versa. I feel like we're always there for one another, and we're always kind of, yeah, it's kind of a thing of like someone gives the little spark, and the other person is like, okay, bitch, let's put this whole thing on fire and let's see what happens from it. And which is really exciting, and it's really good to have a friend like that through thick and thin. Thick with two C's, because we're relevant. Just kidding you. Okay, this is a really, really good question as well. And this is also in the theme of inspiration and such. How do you hope to inspire others like they've inspired you? This is also from Christina C.
hopefully you're just being myself. I know that, like, I feel like even now the kind of non-binary and slash trans community isn't really that big when it comes to gaming. Like, I could name a handful of trans people that I know who play games and that are my friend.
Right.
I don't really know that many people. So I think just like inspiring others to just play games and have fun. And I think just like where I want to go with my channel is kind of just like uplifting people who need it and who deserve it. And I don't know. That.
That. No, for sure, for sure. I remember honestly, when you used to stream on YouTube as well. I remember there was a big portion of like, as you were going through a transition, without like kind of telling people that you were going through a transition, you kind of just always been yourself, and people just always accepted that this was the next stage and this is what Ash looks today. And it was really cool to see people that, obviously Minecraft has a younger audience. It was really cool to see, like, years ago, people kind of like these younger people learning about pronouns. And I remember it was so cool seeing like someone asking you about your pronouns, and then minutes later or hours later someone else would come in, and that person that asked you was the one educating them, and kind of like paying it forward and kind of spreading the knowledge and
My heart.
it was super cool. And this wasn't like 2018 or anything. This was like 2 years ago or whatever, like before Twitch was super big. And um, I finally convinced you to go to Twitch. But it was really cool, and I feel like you are really doing that. I've seen so many people on like social media and stuff being like, through you being yourself, I've been able to find myself, or I'm in a place where I'm comfortable, like knowing that whoever I am can change and it's okay because you're doing it and you're slaying it, which can put a weird pressure on you because, like you said earlier, you were like, I don't have all the answers. I don't have everything figured out. I'm not the voice of trans people because even I have my struggles. And even like people think that I'm slaying, but like you were saying, you were like, but I'm just in my room, not really talking to anyone and not really living life. So it's really cool to see that now that's not really the case. You're kind of like more, living like a
Thank you.
healthy life and you're slaying, and people can definitely look up to you in a positive manner. I feel like you've always been a positive influence. So, but yeah, for sure, you're definitely showing people that it's totally okay to be yourself, and to that labels aren't really that necessary, and it's just more about accepting who people are, and just kind of
And you
like,
accepting who you are.
yeah.
I think it's the most important thing.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. We are taking fan questions or viewer questions. Ew, it's so weird saying fan questions. I'm never saying that
Yeah.
ever again. You can do it in the main chat room or in the questions chat room. For sure. I do think though that it's not easy every time to, like, when you go live and to always have people ask you questions that have to do with your identity, because sometimes you just don't want to talk about it, right? Sometimes you just want to be yourself and just do things. So how do you kind of keep that balance between like always answering those types of questions and just kind of being like, you know what, guys, Google is a thing. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I feel like it just like depends. I feel like some days are better than others that I'm better at that stuff. And I just want like people to know that like when you ask someone those questions, realize that they probably get asked that at least 10 trillion times a day, an hour, a minute. So they might not want to answer it. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, and sometimes those things can literally, you could have just like Google that answer. Like literally, Google is the thing we have. You can literally ask Siri. Like we literally have talking people on our phone that can answer these things. Um,
Right.
but I do try my best to if someone's truly interested and really wants to know certain things, I will do my best to like, direct them to certain sites or tell them from my own experience what that means or how that makes me feel or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think it's just finding that balance. And um, I think people also don't realize that like it also depends because like I feel like on my transition I got more and more snappy because like I'm changing and like things that bothered me bother me even more now because like
Mm.
I'm wanting to change those things even more,
Right.
so like when people would just like I don't know, it just like little things would just bother me, but I feel like now, as I'm like feeling a little bit more established and comfortable in my skin, I feel like now I'd be like I'm definitely open to answering any questions and people always DM me. Especially I feel like not really like people who don't understand it, but like are kind of like confused in their gender
Mm.
or whatever it is, message me. And I always love those. Like, if you're ever having any trouble with your sexuality or how you identify or who you are, whatever your questions are, like, I always appreciate those. It, like, honestly makes me happy because, like, the fact that you feel comfortable enough to come to me to talk about
Right.
something so personal means that I'm affecting you positively, and that's like all I want to do when it comes to YouTube and when it comes to anything that I do online or even offline.
For sure. And those are the things that people remember as well. People, it's what I say in my streams as well. Like, people will not remember how many followers I had when I die. You know what I mean? Like, when I die, people will remember if I was nice to them, if I was someone that they could come to when they were struggling with things. And that's kind of the thing with content creation. Like, you don't, the numbers, yeah, they're great, obviously, but you kind of you should also measure success by the impact that you're having, because sometimes smaller communities can have a huge impact and vice versa. Sometimes a huge community doesn't really have a lot of impact because all they do is, like, I don't know, watch Fortnite stuff, or they, the only thing that they do is PvP in video games and stuff like that, which is not to say that there's not value in that, but what I'm saying is sometimes we value growth and we value numbers so much that we forget that the people, even if it's just one person or two people, we are making an impact on someone, and that is really important to remember. That would be my own advice related to the conversation that we're having, is that no matter how big or small of an audience you have, you can still make an impact on people and an impression on people. So yeah, before we go though, where can people find you at?
You can find me Ashvinelf anywhere, ashvinelf.com.
Yes,
Yep.
ashvinelf.com. I felt like you were going to like continue talking, and then you were like ashvinelf.com, and that's it.
Yep.
Okay, one final question before we go. Ooh, this is a really good one. This is also from Christina C. Do you have advice for people who also struggle with anxiety on pushing it aside and upholding two jobs, a huge move, going out and meeting new people? Basically, how did you do it?
Honestly, I just kind of, well, I felt like a lot before like the move, it was just like kind of just like, I don't know. I just kind of pushed through it and just like knowing that like at the end of the day, it's gonna benefit me positively, you know,
Mm-hmm.
instead of thinking like how I feel in the moment, because always if I like get that feeling and I'm just like, I'm anxious, then I'll just like freak out and I won't go to that bar or I won't hang out or I won't do whatever it is. But if I kind of just like say, oh, okay, if I do this, if I just push through this, like I know at the end of the day, I'm gonna have fun. Or even if I
Mm.
don't have fun, I'm gonna have an experience
A
that I can talk
story,
about.
yeah.
I'm gonna have a story. So I think it's just like thinking what's gonna happen after instead of thinking how am I feeling right now.
That
It's
is
gonna be
really good advice. That is really, really good advice, because um, anxiety is temporary. What you feel, feelings are temporary as a whole. That's why a lot of people say, like, don't get attached to being inspired to make content. Like, you should always strive to, because like, inspiration is also fleeting. Like, everything, feelings are temporary, but having that knowledge in the moment and being like, okay, this is really freaking scary. I hate everything about this. But I know that if I do it, it's gonna be good for me, or whatever you're doing, right? It's like, if you're really nervous about going on a date, then it's gonna be like, yeah, it's nerve-wracking, sure, but like, do you not want to have that experience? Do you not want to get to know someone? Even if it doesn't go well, at least it's like what Ash said, you get to monetize it and make a video out of it and be like, oh my god, my Tinder date was so bad, and this is he called
my
me
Tinder
a
they
whale.
farted. Ew.
Right. I love that you made like
And then
a
blamed it
thumbnail.
on me.
I love that for people who are watching this, Ash made like a thumbnail face. She was like, as if like she was picturing the whole thing already. Um, yeah, absolutely. And that applies for so many things. It's like, just honestly, like, obviously, if it's super overwhelming to the point of like you feel like you're gonna die, then maybe smaller steps. But try to think of the big picture. That's kind of the thing that was the main message. It's kind of like do things thinking about what you're going to gain from it and what you're going to get out of it, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Because, in the moment you're like, oh, I hate this. I don't want to go to the party. I don't want to do that thing. I don't want to record that video. It's so stressful. But then when you actually do it, it's so rewarding at the end of the day because you actually did something and you actually get something out of it really that could be really exciting and a learning experience for you for sure. So, really, really good advice. Like she said, you can find her at Ashvinelf everywhere. You can find me at Project Ruby everywhere. YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all of the above. This podcast is going to be uploaded every week or every other week. We're not sure yet, but, follow my social media to kind of be updated on that as we go on. This is still the first episode, so obviously there's still a lot of room for growth and for improvement. So feel free to leave your feedback in the comment sections down below of whatever platform you're using to watch this. Leave reviews, do all that fun stuff so that we can improve and we can go on and slay the game. If there's any guests that you want to see on the podcast, feel free to contact me on any of the social medias that I mentioned. And we'll see you next time. Until then, thank you so much, Ash, for coming. It was really nice to have you. And
it's nice again.
Yes, it was so good to have you. Goodbye, guys. It was very nice to talk to you guys, for you guys. So yeah, bye.